Welcome. Welcome, everybody.
Nice.
What a wonderful showing of love in the room today for a man that touched our lives. We have family and friends that have traveled from far and near to be here today. Although South Carolina is in the house,
Whoop, whoop.
Maryland will always be our home.
Whoop, whoop.
We have my beautiful children here from Illinois.
Okay.
We have Virginia in the house. Virginia. We have Pennsylvania represented. Beware, Delaware is here. The Sunshine State of Florida is in the house. And for all of our Marylanders, throw your arms in the air like you just don't care. Did I forget anyone? West Virginia. West Virginia's in the house. Sorry about that. I have 96 pages, one for each year of my dad's life.
I sure hope that was a joke.
We have a wonderful day of celebration planned, and God has graciously blessed us with blue skies, tolerable temperatures, and a bay breeze. Hope everyone grabbed a blue wristband. Please wear it until 6 p.m. for the Rod and Reel team to know that you are part of our group, not to mention that they are super cool. The attendees registration papers are on the tables. If you can't get your information on the label, just flip the page over and write on the back. This will make it a lot easier for the thank you cards. Show your wristband to the bar. The first $500 is covered today. Cheers!
Whoop, whoop.
If you're drinking iced tea or sodas, are you sure you're at the right place? You get 3 refills. Just take your cup back and we'll empty it further and fill it up for you.
Jimi
Once
Hendrix. Isn't it?
we reach the 500 limit, everyone will be on their own tab. From Dad's South Carolina service, we have a bunch of the pamphlets left over. I'm going to put them up there on the table, but I just wanted to let everybody know, do not follow the agenda in here. It is not the one we're doing today. But there's some, it's a nice little poem in here if anybody wants one. There's also some extra photos up on the table just laying around. If anybody wants to have those photos, they're welcome to them. Quick overview for agenda today. Lunch is going to be served here shortly. And then that'll be 2:30 to 3:30 roughly. And then we're going to have shared memories and music. And we have a great window of time today for everyone to reconnect. Please get around and hug each other and spend some time catching up. The Sunset Cruise is at 7 p.m. Everyone can head over around 6:45. It'll take about 10 minutes to walk over there. I'd like to give special thanks to my brother Donnie for bringing in his PA system today.
Whoop, whoop.
And let's kick lunch off with Donnie, who would do the honor of the prayer.
Good afternoon, everybody. Nice to see everybody here today. Celebration of Dad. It's a beautiful day. The good Lord gave us. And we're going to have a blessed, wonderful day all by the grace of God. So we're going to have a little lunch here, so I'm going to bless up the food. And so let's go to the Lord in a word of prayer, please. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this day you provided for us. The Holy Spirit's here in each one of us. Bless our service this morning, Father. And now I'm going to ask you to nourish and bless our food, Lord, and nourish and strengthen our body. And we just ask this in your most precious holy name, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy.
And please start, there's no particular order, so I would just start heading up and getting the food while it's fresh.
Grab and growl.
So mighty to King, yes, God, the help and grace of God, I'll sing the victory song. Yes, God, the help and grace of God, I'm gonna keep a flying.
There's no way you didn't like to make anything but the barbecue.
Just like Chicago. Almost like Chicago.
Oh yeah, I do. There is Border A's. Yeah, this is like my favorite view. It's from Ping Tong Park in Chinatown. Yeah.
Taking it all in. Punching the arm. And he's schooling you how they breathe. You those differences make the difference when you get a catch fish or not. In the butt. You've got to run to win your race. Go on the way and quit the pace. To remember when you're
A couple of people in order. And then anybody else who wants to come up and have a few words with that dad, more than welcome to come up. If you feel uncomfortable about coming up talking on a microphone, I'll just bring you a cordless mic, wireless mic out to you. And you have you say that way. And then if you want to pass it around the table, however y'all want to do it, we'll work that out. But this time, Debbie's going to start it off, and then we'll take it from there. All right, Miss Debbie, it's all yours.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Deb.
For those who don't know me, I'm Debbie, but I think everybody here knows me.
Hi, Debbie!
Was that Mike?
Yes.
Jared, when did you get here?
An hour ago.
I want to welcome everybody that's here today, and thank you so much. Whether you know us or not, you know Dad through us, and we appreciate you. The family appreciates everybody being here. I know a lot of people came from long and far, and it really speaks to our heart. Thank you very much. I'm going to start off here, and I'm going to read a poem, and you guys help me get through it. It says, in loving memory of Dad. He never looked for praises. He was never one to boast. He just went on quietly working for the ones he loved the most. His dreams were seldom spoken. His wants were very few. And most of the time his worries went unspoken too. He was there, a firm foundation through all our storms in life, a sturdy hand to hold on to in times of stress and strife, a true friend we could turn to when times were good or bad. One of our greatest blessings, the man we call Dad. It's beautiful. The next one is called my hero. You held my hand when I was small. You caught me when I fell. You are the hero of my childhood and my latter years as well. And every time I think of you, my heart still fills with pride. Though I will always miss you, Dad, I know you're by my side. In laughter and in sorrow, in sunshine and in rain, I know you're watching over me until we meet again. So here's some thoughts. Our dad, daddy, pop, 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 pop. Grandpa was no ordinary man to us. He was bigger than life. He truly enjoyed most people. He liked people watching, being with family, building, woodworking, playing games, cards, watching westerns, flirting with the ladies, and especially eating. As kids, he and Mom took us out crabbing, fishing, to air shows. We often stopped for a bologna sandwich on the side of the road. We went to many, many country music festivals, and they especially loved going camping with a ton of our family members to Whippoorwill Lake. It was in Warrenton, Virginia, to listen to country music artists and bands play all weekend. One year, one of those artists happened to be a 10-year-old girl named Alice, who decided she was going to get up on stage to sing Delta Dawn for the masses out across the hillside. She had very cool parents by her side. I have so many great childhood memories. I would giggle away while he was working on table legs in the dining room, underneath the table when things would get very quiet. We knew he zonked out right there on the floor. And seeing Dad eating a paper napkin at our spaghetti dinner, thinking that it was a roll while none of us said a word. And we all erupted in laughter when he finally spit it out, thinking we were the crazy ones. Randy, my oldest, for those that don't know, would stand on a stool at the kitchen sink in front of him, and all four hands were in there washing dishes, telling jokes, and the importance of squeaky clean dishes. Dad taught me so many things. Things like, if I should ever get into a fight or bullied at school, I had better never, ever lose that fight, or I'd have to deal with him. I never lost. He taught me how to drive the car at the age of 10, which ticked my mom off pretty bad. He would bait my fishing hooks, neck crabs, cook many things like eggs, pork chops, mashed potatoes, and to never ever bring boys home. I was asked out by a football player in high school who wanted to take me to his football banquet. But I told this guy multiple times I just couldn't go. So one evening while I was up at my friend's house, Susan Bowen, this guy who was 17, at least 6'2", football player, he was big, he's thinking that he was a young man with manners. So he drove to my house, he knocked on the door to properly ask permission. Mom called up to my friend Sue's house to tell me I'd better hurry on home now because Dad had told the guy to wait right there at the front door for just a minute. And then he returned to the door with a shotgun, chasing him down the driveway. When he said there would be no dating under the age of 16, I do believe he meant it. Mom and Dad bought property up at Deep Creek Lake in Garrett County, Maryland. And before the house was built, we'd go up for special times, like the Autumn Glory Festival, that everybody loved so much. When I was a teen, they began going up after work on Fridays. They'd work all day Saturday, go home on Sundays. As a grandfather, he taught most of the grandsons how to use and shoot the pellet gun up the lake. Where I know my sons, I'm sure the others all feel like they own that entire mountainside. One year, when we arrived to pick Ryan up, after a couple of weeks with his grandparents, he had built a trap with his papa, caught a raccoon in it, set the raccoon free, and he also wiped out what appeared to be the entire chipmunk population up there, where he proudly displayed them across the back wall, and there was a lot of them. A bit mortified, I questioned Dad, who was very, very proud of his grandson's accomplishments. He's the only guy I know that could have my boys and their friends all gathered around the back of his pickup truck, staring into a secrets box with his kidney stones in it, while they are all so completely engrossed in this story. Caitlin and Eddie got such a kick out of this wedding gift to them. It was wrapped up in a brown paper bag, taped up with duct tape, as he did all the gifts that he wrapped up. He had a special relationship with all of us, his girls, his guys, Warren, Kenny, Donnie, Pat, Juanita, me, and Alice, and loved his son-in-laws like sons and friends. Roger said, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. I can't begin to express the lifetime of things I've learned from this amazing man that I was honored to call my dad. Roger said he misses his rummy partner. Al says he misses taking Dad up to the Siemens restaurant for all-you-can-eat ribs and watching him shoot the breeze with the lady that would come out of the back to talk to Dad. Alice and I miss his 8 o'clock nightly calls. And I know what all this, so many things each of us personally did with him. He once sat in a very difficult situation of mine back around 1984, and then he drew a line between the words pros and cons, and he said, okay, let's get started. When we were finished, he grabbed the yellow pages that I had behind him. He tore off a piece of the cover and he wrote on the back side, Deborah is only on a Lend-Lease basis. There's always home. Well, Dad, I'm glad you're at peace, and ask that you please save a spot for me because I'll be looking for you and Mom when I arrive. I could go on all day. There's no question that with your lighthearted wit and your quick laugh, you will be sorely missed. Bye-bye for now. Pat, you want to come on up?
First of all, I'd just like to thank all for being here today to celebrate Pop's life, a life well lived. Closer to the mic. I can't hear you. Yes. Forty Malone. He wore many faces. Dad, Daddy, Pop, Granddaddy, Grandpap, Pop, Uncle, cousin, storyteller, and friend. As most of you know, I am the oldest of 4 girls. Forty was not my biological father. I never had the privilege or the opportunity of living in a household when I was a kid growing up. You can't always control your destiny. But Pop was my dad in every sense of the word. He always treated me as though I belonged to him. His love was unconditional.
Can you lean in?
I treasure the many talks we had throughout the years, some quite whimsical and many quite serious. I told Pop many times how I felt about him. He was the dad that my biological father never was. I was always about the quality of time spent and not the quantity. He ended every visit with a hug and I love you, girl. My boys, their wives, and all the grandkids had the privilege and the blessing of sharing time and laughter. Many stories of Grandpa, and some I was never told. I had so many children coming to the house throughout the years, and all the boys thought they would run back and come off. I was on no way Grandpa was coming back, but they love the stories. A lot of children never get the opportunity to know their grandparents, and for that, we are also thankful. I believe God extended Pop's life, his time here on earth, when he had his aneurysm 3 years ago. Pop's work was not done at that time. I think God gave him time to let his love be known and time to reflect and prepare. I don't know that Pop was really ready to leave his family and friends, as most of us would not. But I do truly believe that Pop was ready to go home. Pop was a special person. He was loved beyond measure, and he will be missed forever. Until that day that God calls us all home, may we just remember his memories each day as we wake up and start a new day. And now I'm going to read a poem. This was written as though a loved one had gone on, and they want to reassure the family that's left behind. To my dearest family, some things I'd like to say, but first of all, to let you know that I arrived today. I'm writing this from heaven. Here I dwell with God above. Here there's no more tears or sadness. Here there's only eternal love. Please do not be unhappy just because I'm out of sight. Remember that I'm with you every morning, noon, and night. That day I had to leave you when my life on earth was through. God picked me up. He hugged me. He said, I welcome you. It's good to have you back again. You were missed when you were gone. As for your dearest family, they will be here later on. I need you here badly. You're part of my plan. There's so much that we have to do to help our mortal man. God gave me a list of things that he wished for me to do. And foremost on the list was to watch and care for you. When you lie in bed at night, the day's chores put to flight, God and I are closest to you in the middle of the night. When you think of my life on earth and all those 11 years, because you are only human, they're bound to bring you tears. But do not be afraid to cry. It does relieve the pain. Remember, there would be no flowers unless there was some rain. I wish that I could tell you all that God has planned. But if I would tell you, you wouldn't understand. But one thing is for certain, though my life on earth is over, I'm closer to you now than ever before. There are many rocky roads ahead and many hills to climb. But together, we can do it by taking it one day at a time. There's always the philosophy that I like for you to know that as you give into the world will give to you. If you can help somebody who's in sorrow and pain, then you can say, God at night, my day was not in vain. And now I'm contented that my life has been worthwhile, knowing I passed along the way and I made somebody smile. So if you meet somebody who is sad and feeling low, just lend a hand, pick them up as you go on your way. When you're walking down the street and you've got me on your mind, I'm walking in your footsteps, only a half a step behind. And when it's time for you to go, from that body to be free, remember, you're not going, you're coming here to be. Thank you.
Stereo.
2 mics.
Well, I didn't have anything written down, but I'm just going to say what comes to my heart. Wow, we lost a good one. Never will be forgotten. He's done a lot for me. You know, they were celebrating the life of Dad, 40, the King, FM, the head honcho. And I probably missed a few that he goes by, but he goes by all those. But you know, he gave me life. I'm dedicated forever for that. Didn't have to give me a big nose, but you know, other than that, you know, gave me some good looks. But anyway, you tell me you look like your dad. I'd say, I don't know about that. But anyways, Dad liked to work hard, play hard. He liked no BSers. He liked to shoot straight in the hip. Don't mess with his girls. Don't mess with his boys. Then you got a problem. And he loved classic cars. He loved fishing. Loved bluegrass music. Loved his family. Hard-working man. Master carpenter. And man, he loved board games like we referenced to earlier, and checkers, and he was good at it. I mean, at the age he was in, my God, he would always beat me. But sharp mind, and very good in math, and as a blessing. He taught me a lot of times we go up to the lake. I'll just tell a short story. We went up to the lake sometimes. We go up out 20 years, I guess every weekend, we go up there, we up to the house. And of course, sometimes Mom would go with us, sometimes she wouldn't. And of course, at that time, we weren't drinking and driving, have a 12-pack in the truck, whatever, drinking and driving all the way up. Hancock was a halfway point. I always had to stop in Hancock. There was a tavern and bar in there. Had to go in there and flirt with the waitresses and drink some beer. And it's like 10, 11 o'clock at night. You still got an hour and a half, 2-hour ride, you know. And a buddy of mine, Buster, he was with us that time we was going up there, as I recall. And so we've been up there, you know, thousands of times, set routine, going up the road. Of course, the road you go up to Lakeshore Drive didn't have any lights back then, you know. So we were going up in there, and he's pulling up there, and then he said, "This is how we're gonna do it, boys." Because he wanted to back the truck up, turn it down, back down, right? So we all got beer in our, you know, in our hands and stuff like that. So he's backing up, and all of a sudden, boom! Beer goes everywhere, all over me, Buster, Dash, 40 truck, and everything. Buster says, "That the way you do it, 40?" We said, "Man, not exactly." He said, "Who put that goddamn tree there? Wasn't there last week?" Pardon my French. That's how that was, you know. Let me get that such the damage to Big Red's will be on me if I don't, you know. He didn't do nothing to the truck, you know. But yeah, we had a lot of good times going up there. And then every once in a while we did get a little time to run around town and, you know, do a little fishing up there. But we got to spend some quality time together. And like Brother Kenny said, there's just not enough time in the day to tell all the stories about it. And I'm sure all of us here got something to say, to tell stories about it. And Dad always told me, he said, work hard, play hard, always respect women, and always have a little jingle in your pocket. And he's the kind of guy that, you know, he could walk in a bar anywhere, no friends, the next minute he's got 4 or 5 of them sitting right down there, the kind of person he was. He rode motorcycles, had accidents on motorcycles, cars. I mean, he was a miracle man. Everything he's been through, you stop to think about it. He was an amazing, you know, guy. And you know, I just blessed he was my dad. And it's like I said, I'm truly indebted to him. You know, I'm sort of lost for words now, but I love him dearly. I know you all love him dearly too. He was a family man. He was a rock, and no question about it. And if you ever needed anything, he was there for you, give you the shirt off his back. And that's the kind of guy he was. He was one of a kind, no question about it. So that's pretty much all I got to say. You know, thank you for the opportunity, and God bless you.
I like this mic. You hear me? All right. So I walked around and said hi, I think, to everybody, and I noticed that this on your table is still sitting there, just like it was when it was left there a couple hours ago. So what this is the registration. Instead of having a registration book when you walk in that you fill out, everybody would kindly please just put their name and address on the stickers here. And if you have a wrong name or a hyphenated name, then just turn it over and you can write on the back here your information. Because I like the easy button, more about that. So the point of doing it this way is I can photocopy it, put it in the registration book, and we'll have everybody that has attended here today. But also I can peel these off and put them on the thank you cards. So it's like a win-win situation. There's also the little index cards at the bottom that if anybody has a memory or story or if you draw for an artist, feel free to use these index cards to fill it out. And when you're done, and the table is done, everyone's going to do this, it goes in the basket there in the table. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again for being here today to celebrate Dad's life and continue his legacy through memories and stories. Dad, Pop, 40, Uncle, or who he was to you, he was a special person to all of us. We are blessed that he was here for 96 years. I am blessed to have him for 58 of those years, which is still not long enough. I really thought he was going to make it to 100, and we would see his face on a Smucker's jelly jar. In his early years, he was known to cause a little trouble every once in a while. He enjoyed life, he enjoyed his friends, and he enjoyed his family. He knew how to live to the fullest. His mind was always thinking and creating the next project. He was a master craftsman. When I was a child in Shadyside, I had the coolest dad in the neighborhood who would make fun happen with the simplest things, like taking a couple of wood blocks, 2x4s, to make walking stilts on, overturning a 50-gallon drum that was in our yard so we could walk and roll on it. I was always clinging to his side to help with projects, and he probably just looked around the yard to see what would keep me occupied. Dad was a whiz at math. It was so easy and natural for him. He was always calculating his carpentry work, measuring, cutting, etc. He would envision ideas, draw them out, map the measurements, and then create it. His talent was endless. Dad and Mom bought a piece of property at Deep Creek Lake in the late 60s, I think. In the 70s, we spent almost every weekend and many summers up there. We camped at Double G Campground until the property was cleared. They moved the small just testing. And then we moved the small camper to the property. We would go to the mountain spring. There's a mountain spring house with the water coming right out of the mountain. And we would have these big gallon, they were made for water, 5-gallon buckets with tops on them, made for water. And the water was ice cold, clean, and that was our only source of water for many years. Many in this room, just gonna look around here, and many that are no longer with us, contributed to the construction of the house, from the foundation to the roof. One of the hidden features was the access insulation in all the cinder blocks.
Beer can.
Okay, you don't know. Yes, every cinder block had a beer can in it. Or a bottle. The house was built on blood, sweat, tears, beers, and cheers. They nicknamed it Hardship Hill. After finally retiring and moving up there in the 90s, Mom and Dad got snowed in with 104 inches of snow for an entire month. Every winter thereafter, they started migrating down to Myrtle Beach and permanently moved down there around 1996, 1997. It was a beautiful home with a lot of memories made for all that participated in the building process or that came for a visit. And all of our kids did spend a lot of time up there with them, and it was amazing childhood memories. Dad made improvements everywhere he lived. He was about the age I am now, and he decided to add a door and a walkway from the basement at our house in Arnold, Severn. I came home from school one day, and he was digging around the foundation. Then the next day, a sledgehammer. So he was sledgehammering out the block, the cinder block of this home that had been there for quite a while, by hand, and he created a walkout basement. I think he might have created a walkout basement as an escape route, just in case he got into hot water with Mom. Into his 70s, 80s, and 90s, he built building extensions, laid concrete pathways, made various furniture and crafts for family and friends. At 93, he built a 16-foot ramp for Winnie Hill, and it was 103-degree weather in South Carolina. He was an amazing craftsman. He would also pitch right in to help Mom with her projects. Although he had big fingers, he had no problem helping her make jewelry. Mom would design the pieces, and he would help string and wire them together, like the earrings I'm wearing today. He was so observant of every detail. He would notice if your nails were painted, ask about a piece of jewelry that you were wearing. He would notice hair changes, clothing, and even comment if he thought my makeup was a little different. Dad broke the wind in his face. In his younger years, he loved riding his Harley. In his late 70s until the age of 93, he loved riding his bicycle. Then after his aneurysm, he transitioned to his Blue Goose, a souped-up SUV scooter. Paul Newman's eyes had nothing on Dad's blue eyes. His eyes were the color of the pale blue sky on the clearest day, showing comfort and strength that everything was going to be okay. His hands were strong, yet gentle. He loved holding hands. He could be tough and would often set people straight when they got out of line. And he would be the first one throwing a punch if he needed to protect one of his loved ones. His love was unwavering, and everyone around could feel his kindness and gentle love. He liked watching westerns and really enjoyed watching the ridiculousness with us, especially the girls in bikinis. He was in his 80s when he had cataract surgery, and he looked in the mirror and he wanted to know who that old man was looking back at him. In his head, he still saw himself as in his 30s. I asked him, like, Dad, how are you? Like, where do you see yourself, like, in your head? In my 30s. At 80 years young, he was on our 3rd story roof in Maryland, sweeping the gutters. At the edge of the gutters, 1 foot higher than the other, sweeping. I was out in the yard, I looked up and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, your gutters are dirty. Okay. And now the only way to get up there, is supposed to be clear, is you had to climb a ladder and then put another ladder on that roof to get up to the next level. He was way up there. In his 80s, he dove into the deep waters of the Caribbean to go snorkeling. He was an inspiration to all that knew him and those that wanted to know him. Dad's favorite color was red. I'm wearing red accents today in celebration of his amazing life. Now I'm going to go back to a story. So my parents both were coin collectors. They loved coins. So when I was about 13, my dad told me that I needed to keep all of my pennies because they were going to stop making them. So somehow I acquired a big VO bottle. You know, the great big ones, 2 gallons, 3 gallons, 3
2
liters,
gallons.
3 liters, I think. Anyway, so I started keeping every penny I had. 20 years later, I called Mom and Dad over. David and I are there wrapping these pennies that I had saved forever. But they came right over, they loved doing that, wrapping these pennies. So back in high school, I was driving Big Ten. Probably about 10th grade. I had a classmate that thought she could bully me. A lot more to the story. But the short version is, I knew I was going to get into a fight. But I didn't want to get in trouble. So I went to Dad and I said, hey, here's what's going on. And he said, all right, put a roll of pennies in my hand. He said, when the time comes, you put this roll of pennies in your fist and you hit her in the nose as hard as you can. And do not come home with a black eye. All right. Well, the time came. I grabbed my roll of pennies in my fist, and I hit her in the face. And the wrapper broke, and the pennies went flying all over the floor. Then it was hair. She was like, it was grabbing my hair. And I didn't know what that was because, you know, Dad didn't raise us as females, we were raised women and boys. You know, so I'm like, wait, you're cheating. You can't pull my hair. That's not fair. So anyway, I'm like punching her. And then the moral of the story is use quarters. When Dad was in the hospital, I could see his health was changing, you know, and I was having a conversation with him, and I said, Dad, I'm not ready to let you go. And he said, Alex, I'm really going to miss you. So, I'm really missing you, Dad. A couple of things I want to note here, too, is the measuring tapes on the table back there. Please make sure that everybody takes one of those. Take those with you. My dad used to write on every one of his tools, FM. So in his honor and memory, the tape measures have his initials on them. Please take that. I had a couple people ask about the centerpieces, and those are just tools that I bought, you know, cheaply for the centerpiece. The pennies are some of the pennies from his rolls. But please, like, do a lottery, rock, paper, scissors, or whatever, for whoever might want to take the centerpieces home. We do not want to take them back to Carolina. I do want to mention that the iris is my dad's favorite flower. So those represent the one flower he really enjoyed, and my mom planted those in her yard, and so they had some beautiful iris. The fern represents Deep Creek Lake. Up there we had wild fern growing all over the mountain, so the fern represents Deep Creek Lake. Now, back in the day, I did a newsletter for a little while for a family in Waterside, and I'd asked Dad to fill out this questionnaire. So I'm going to read some of the questions and answers. So his mom and dad, his mom was Lila, and his dad's name was DeForest, like my dad. Although my dad wasn't Junior, he was just named after him DeForest. He had brothers and sisters. Nettie, my Aunt Sissy, she was born in 1916, and Aunt Sissy and Aunt Bee were my favorite aunts. They raised us. Wally was born in 1917. Harry was born in 1921. Harry is...
Kenny?
Yeah. Yeah, Kenny. Sorry, Juanita. Or no. Anyways, moving on. I'm reading and I can't see. Oh, way over there. Okay, I gotcha. Merle, Dad, was born in 1927, and Ronnie in 1936. Special childhood memories. Any special childhood memories? Dad put down movies, 5 cents, fishing, crabbing, and baseball. First job, how much did it pay? He worked at an airplane factory, and that was back in 1943. He was the youngest one they had hired. I think he had to have he got in with a friend, but he was paid $1.05 per hour back then, which was a lot of money. He was the He was the youngest person ever hired for that. He put propellers together. Let's see, your first car, motorbike, or other transportation. A 1932 Ford Coupe V8 was his first car. Like new condition, cost $35.
Yeah.
Okay, 1944 Harley, he paid $75 for it. Scrolling through here. Favorite place to live? Myrtle Beach and Western Maryland. Favorite places to vacation? Mountains in summer and beaches in the south in the winter. That's what they were doing at the time. Favorite foods, seafood, and barbecue. And he spelled it B-A-R-B-E-E-Q. Favorite music, bluegrass. Favorite color, red. Favorite flower, iris. Favorite season, spring. Do you have any hobbies or special talents? Woodworking. And I want to mention, so the crafts up there on the table are the ones that Dad made. His first one that he made for us was a Snoopy. My dad loved Snoopy. It was Snoopy with a cart that you put flowers in. And then the Bumblebee, which was awesome in the gardens because it kept away like the birds and whatever. And then the boy and girl swing. So he made those. So the last question here is, what is your beauty longevity secrets? His answers were drinking, smoking, running around at night, no sleep, wife Rachel, and my kids. Thank you.
I would be remiss if I didn't do this first, because I don't want to get hit by lightning by Rachel. Yahoo! I know she's happy. He's in heaven with her. Listen to all those country music songs that we all loved. But we went. People don't realize how 40 had a variety of life. It was not just carpentry, crab eating, beer drinking, raising children, and conning. But he got away with every bit because he had the personality to con anybody, and everybody loved him. And as the years went by, he got more lovable, and he was just a joy to be with. So many of us old folks are as happy as 40 was. And that's a shame, because life is so short, and all we could think of is misery, and all he could think of was happiness and love. He wanted to make sure his son and daughters were happy, well, and taken care of. He did worry about them very much. And in return, his son, his daughters, mostly, did what you should do for your parents. They took care of it. He was well taken care of. He died happy. He loved everybody, and everybody loved him. We liked his jokes. We loved him patting on the tushy, but we didn't care because we knew it was 40. And he was loving. As the time went by, it did not matter who you were. He loved you. He was happy for you. And he wanted you all to be happy for him. 40 lived a good life. He's had ups, he's had downs. Ups and downs. But he came out smelling like a rose. He earned his crown. He and Rachel are just having a ball up there. I hope they don't get kicked out, but they're having a ball. They're having a good time up there. And God will bless them because they did love God. They were a Christian. Whatever they did, whatever we do, we are loved by Jesus. 40 was a person you could go and talk to. And somehow you'd be down and out. And all of a sudden, after talking to him, You are laughing, having fun, enjoying life. Because he enjoyed life. And he extended that to anyone that was with him. He will be missed. He was always fun to go visit. He always wanted to talk about the past. He loved the past. And we live on an old road called Turkey Point Road. Anyhow, we don't have turkeys, but it's named Turkey. At one time it was a turkey farm, I understand. He knew that road very well. It's in Anne Arundel County, which he lived in, and he always wanted to know if we knew this person, that person. No, they're dead. Do you know this person? No. But he didn't forget anybody that lived on Turkey Point Road. And he always wanted to hear about it. What are they doing? What are they building? He was always curious on what was going on. We will miss him very much. He brought a lot of light to our family and friends. But the man lived a long time. And I pray we can too. I pray we can live that long. I'm almost there. I'm 85. And I'm going to make it to, I hope 95.
105.
95. I want to stick around. I'm not ready to give up the aggravations that I give my family. I have earned that. But all in all, we are here to celebrate a beautiful, loving, wonderful man. May he rest in peace, which I'm sure God opened the gates and welcomed him.
God bless everybody that's here today. My heart's with you, and I'm very proud to be called family. What I'm about to say, I'm not a very good public speaker, but what I'm going to say is from the heart. I'm not really organized or in any grand scheme of things. I just want to share some thoughts that I have about this wonderful Uncle 40. But I got to ask you guys a question first. How old were you before you realized 40 was his name and not his age? I think I was like 17. Okay, so really, I want to understand, to me, Uncle 40 will always have been 40. Okay, why? Some words that come to my mind as I think about him, as many people in our family of his generation: loving, kind, caring, focused, driven, stoic. Family is everything. Friends are important. He was led by example, and it was never wavering. He was always transparent, and he was the same no matter what day of the week it was. He always knew where he stood, and what he stood for, and what he loved. And another thing I think is he was always honorable to me. I always felt like his word was his bond, and when you could always take to the bank whatever he said. Those are just some thoughts, right? I think for me, for Uncle 40, I actually posted a picture of he and I when I guess I was 21 on Facebook when he went home to be with God. It's a picture of he and I sitting in my parents' backyard having a beer together. It was my first legal beer of 18. And I got this picture, if you see it on Facebook, I'm just standing there like this, like, I got Uncle 40 right here. And it was just, to me, that was like, he was the coolest guy ever, and just to be able to stand by him and have a beer was really cool, and that's how I carry it in my heart, right? This time really we'll wrap it up, I'll say. I just really want to thank Uncle 40, Aunt Rachel, and all the family members of that generation. They truly are a generation like one of a kind. I don't know where any of us would be today without them at the helm of our family. I think everybody that's living here today is an example of what the torch that they've passed on to us, and I just would hope that we continue to do so. Again, so in closing, Uncle 40 will always be 40, F-O-U-R, F-O-R-T-Y. Don't write checks anymore. But anyway, in closing, he reminds me of something my high school science teacher said to me. He said, always follow the road straight and true, and always paddle your own canoe. And I always thought of that's what Uncle 40 stood for.
Agreed.
The coins, we got like $700 that they counted and rolled out of that big whiskey bottle. The Deep Creek House, the very first time I took Alice up there, I'm not a carpenter guy, but the first time you took me up there, I can't hammer a nail or nothing. So the first time we go up there, he taught me how to rake concrete. So I poured the patio, I'm raking concrete. Boy, I just learned so much from him, and really do miss him. And the only thing I'm kind of mad at him about is now, when I'm 80, I gotta get up on the roof. When I'm 90, I gotta build a ramp, ride a bicycle. But mine will have a motor on it, it'll be all right.
Technical difficulties. So Alice says to me, please don't make me cry. I want something upbeat. I said, okay, well, that's a bit of a challenge, but okay. I have lost track of how many funerals and celebrations of life that I have done. And all of the songs are tearjerkers. Then Alice says, oh, Dad loved bluegrass. Okay, so the pressure's really on now. So I looked up upbeat bluegrass songs for Celebration Life. When I came across this one, I searched no more. I immediately said, perfect. So if everyone would please sing along with me, Alison Krauss and Gillian Welsh, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you.
Some bright morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to that home God's absolute shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away.
Glory.
And that's okay. I would like to do it here.
Yeah, we're on the move.
No,
And the boat
right in the box. Everything is
We're all
so.
asked to end.
Dad tries to have a biodegradable box with fish food, and everything in it dissolves. And we were just gonna set the box down, and it will all dissolve in the water. Pennies? I got you. I heard her say $700. The tie on it though, the rack tie, this thing. I'm not sure about that. You have to eventually it was natural breakdown. Right. Or we could open it. Is there anyone in particular that you want to let Dad go with? Where is that? Do you want to do it? Pat, do you want to do it? Why don't we do it together?
Over in the right hand corner. I want to use over in the right hand. There you go. Now you go.
Biodegradable. It's gonna melt. Do you want to
Man overboard! Man overboard!
Woo!
Love you up to 40.
There you go, Doc.
Very good. Put a little vibe into it. That's right. That's right. Ain't giving it all to you. Shit's expensive. Hey, throw some water in because you're drinking a whole lot of that in the latter years. A whole lot of water.
All the water he had done last year compared to all the beers he had before.
Yeah.
I used to hang out with him.
Debbie.
I got you.